Log into gyroscopeme.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG LLC.
Gyroscope Radio. I'm your host Rashad Mitchell, coming to you live from your remote place from home. The Rashad Mitchell Show comes out every single Saturday afternoon from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Gyroscope Radio, we're back once again for another episode of the Rashad Mitchell Show live on Gyroscope Radio. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with something different, man. Usually I save it for the second half of the show, but gotta start with the baseball, man. We got the ALCS and the NLCS set up for for Monday, actually. No, there's no games going on right now, but got game 1 tomorrow night between the Rangers and the Astros and the ALCS. That's all set up. Both teams are 90-72 during the regular season. Then on Monday, we got game 1 of the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. So that's going to be on TBS. Another series will be on Fox. Yeah, I got to start with that because there were a lot of surprises in the divisional series, man. A lot of upsets that took place. I want to start with that. But first and foremost, we'll start with the Astros, man. The Astros just continue to keep advancing in these playoffs. They've been doing this for so many years. It's their 7th straight American League Championship Series that they're advanced to. They beat the Minnesota Twins 3-2. Won the series 3-1. Jose Abreu hit a home run in this victory, and it's typical of the Houston Astros, man. They just know how to win. They're a defending champs for a reason, and they got a chance to repeat as they go to their 7th straight championship. 7th straight American League Series championship, and that's what they do. They go all the way to the championship series, either that or go to the World Series. That's what Houston Nationals are about as an organization. They are the model franchise in baseball by far. The model franchise in baseball is the Houston Astros. When you talk about the way they play, the way they win every single year, they're consistent. They got 2 titles. Not dynasty, but to be consistent like this, to keep going to the championship series every single year. 7 straight. Now I got a chance to go to another World Series, and they faced the Texas Rangers. This is surprising what they did. They eliminated the Orioles, who had won over 100 games, and they won the series 3-0, swept them, won 7-1. Now they're gonna be well rested for the matchup tomorrow night against Houston. They faced Corey Seager, was a catalyst. He did his thing. He hit a home run, and he did what he had to do to get the job done. And they was able to win this series, man. The sweep. Baltimore had 101 games during the regular season. Great season for them. Obviously, they were surprised, but obviously it's disappointing when you get swept if you're an Orioles fan. Orioles not used to being in these situations, so they definitely overachieved, obviously. So that was a big series win by the Rangers. They're in the ALCS. Bruce Bochy, he's a big-time manager. He's a great manager, man. He's all a famer. When you look at the fact that what he did with the Padres, he managed them to the World Series in 1998. He won 3 championships with the San Francisco Giants. Now he's got a chance to go to the World Series with another team in the American League. You know what I'm saying? We have a chance to win a championship in the American League and the National League. Got a chance to do that, but it's going to be tough going against these Astros who know how to get the job done. You know what it takes, and that's going to be a great series. Looking forward to checking that out and keep moving with that. So, but what was surprising was in the National League. The National League, that was the surprising thing because the Braves had a great season. And they lost in 4 games, to the Phillies. The Phillies know how to get it done. They was in the World Series last year, so they know what it takes to get to World Series is their second straight NLCS. But when you look at this series, it was supposed to be all about the Atlanta Braves. They had the best record in baseball, 104 wins and 58 losses. They were dominant. They did a lot of home runs. They did a lot of great things. But when it comes to the postseason, that's where you gotta make your mark. Is in the postseason. You do all that great stuff in the regular season. When it comes to the postseason, that's when you gotta step up. That's when you gotta be at your best. And unfortunately, the Braves were not at their best. They got outplayed, got beat by a better team, and they won the Phillies in 4 games. And they got it done. So give them credit. I'll give credit to Nick Castellanos. He became the first player to hit multiple home runs in consecutive postseason games. And they beat the Atlanta Braves. They eliminated them for the second straight year. So give credit to the Phillies. They had the best regular season, but they know what it takes to turn it up in the postseason. They did that, and they won 3 games to 1, winning 3-1 this past. It was on Thursday. They won the game, and give them credit, man. They just know how to get it done. They know how to take care of their own business, and that's why they're in the championship series for the second year. They will be facing the Diamondbacks. That's a Cinderella story right there. They swept the Dodgers. Crazy. They beat the Dodgers. I gotta talk about that. That was a surprise, man, to see them, beat the Dodgers like that. The Dodgers just don't have no pitching. Clayton Kershaw, he never plays well or pitch well in the postseason. Always struggle all the time. And the thing about it, I saw a stat there that the Dodgers, the last 3 years, they've won 371 regular season games and no World Series appearance. So they're doing all this success, doing great in the regular season. But when it comes to the postseason, they don't get the job done. They won a championship in 2020. That was during the pandemic year. It was a short season because of the pandemic. They won a championship. But the last time they won a championship when they had a full season was in 1988, 35 years ago. Actually, tomorrow will mark the 35th anniversary of Kirk Gibson's home run on October 15th, 1988, off of Dennis Eckersley. Kirk Gibson hit that home run. They won 5-4, and they able to win that World Series, upsetting the Oakland A's during that time. I mean, it's just crazy, man. When you talk about the Dodgers, they don't know how to win championships. I mean, they have a lot of great success in the regular season. 371 total regular season wins. The last 3 seasons, they have won so many games, over 300, almost close to 400 games. The last 3 seasons, but no playoff success as far as winning the World Series. And I think that's what you see. And also, when you look at this, I see right here, the teams with the 5 best regular season records: the Braves, the Orioles, the Dodgers, and the Rays, and the Brewers, they failed to reach the ALCS. So all that success in the regular season means nothing if you ain't doing nothing in October. That's where you make your mark. And that's why you see teams like the Phillies, they won 90 games, but they're 4 wins away from World Series. They playing like they're supposed to play when it matters in the postseason. That's where it's at. That's where you gotta make your mark. That's where you gotta do your thing. Is when postseason time comes. Postseason time comes. That's where you gotta step up in class. And for the Dodgers, for them to lose like that in a sweep, losing 4-2, they were awful in the first game. Clayton Kershaw gave up a lot of runs in that game on Saturday. They lost 11-2. And they knocked Clayton Kershaw out the first inning. He was awful. Terrible. He never pitches well in the postseason. Never. I mean, he gave up 6 earned runs, a walk, didn't strike nobody out, 6 hits. He was awful. Terrible. We lose to the Diamondbacks. They have Cinderella story, obviously. They have Cinderella story. So give credit to the Diamondbacks. You gotta make the favorites in favor of the Phillies. They are the favorites. They should win this series. Should be, to me, Houston versus Philly. That'll be the rematch of last year's championship series, and as far as the World Series is concerned. And I think that's what you're going to see. The last time you probably saw 2 teams meet each other consecutive years, you got to go back to the late 70s, the Dodgers and the Yankees, I believe. Might be wrong about that, but I don't think I am, because you rarely see in baseball, 2 teams that played each other the previous year meet again the second consecutive year. Usually you don't see that at times, and I think that you may see that. I think you're going to see a rematch between these 2 teams next in the World Series pretty soon. Right now, man, the Phillies are doing their thing. The Dodgers are out. Crazy that they lost this series, man. I mean, they got high expectations, man. They know what it takes to get it done, and they just don't know how to get it done yet. This is a franchise that keeps falling short. And give credit to the Diamondbacks that hit 4 home runs in the record-setting barrage. They did their thing, and this is a Cinderella team, obviously sweeping the Dodgers like they did. This is the first time the Diamondbacks are in the NLCS since 2007. They are 6 seed at 84 and 78. They're definitely the epitome of a championship Cinderella kind of team. They're a Cinderella team. They came out of nowhere. Now, if you knew that this team was going to go to the playoffs and be 4 wins away from a World Series appearance, you're a genius. Nobody thought this. Arizona Diamondbacks, crazy. That's why sports is sports, man. You just never know what's going to happen in sports. If you don't bring your A game, give credit to the Diamondbacks. They are 4 wins away from possibly going to the World Series, possibly. So we'll see about that. So I just wanted to talk about that. I wanted to, start the show with the baseball, because the postseason, that's the most important season when it comes to postseason baseball. I wanted to start with the baseball, get that out of the way. Usually I save that for the second half of the show, but I wanted to get into that because it's very important, man. You had a lot of surprises, man. Baltimore losing, the Dodgers losing, Atlanta losing. It has a lot of surprises, and I wanted to really get into that. Excuse me, let me apologize for that. I think I said 371 games. My bad. I apologize for that. I meant to say 317 regular season wins. I think I said 371. So to correct myself, the Dodgers have won 317 regular season games, regular season wins in the last 3 seasons, but no World Series appearances. The reason why that's important, because that has the most wins by a team in a 3-season span in which they did not reach the World Series. That's an excellent stat. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good stat obviously for the Dodgers, but when you talk about all that success they have in the regular season, dominating the regular season, putting up 100 plus wins, doing what you're supposed to do, but then you get to the postseason and you don't get to the World Series. So I meant to say 317 instead of 371. My apologies. That's the most in a 3-season span for a team to win that many regular season games, 317 last 3 seasons, and don't appear in the World Series. That's beyond bad for the Dodgers as a franchise who knows how to win, who's won championships, who has a lot of success. And you can't get over the hump and get the job done. So I just wanted to start the show with that. So like I said, the series tomorrow will be Game 1 of the ALCS, Houston Astros versus the Texas Rangers, 8:15 p.m. on Fox. You definitely should watch that more than the Giants and the Bills, because that's a terrible game. Daniel Jones is not playing tomorrow. He got a neck injury. Tyrod Taylor, replacing him. So if you're a baseball fan, sports fan, you want to watch the Astros and the Rangers rather than watch the Giants and the Bills tomorrow night. It just makes perfect sense to go tune in to Rangers and the Astros tomorrow night. In the National League Championship Series, you got Game 1, TBS, the Phillies of Philadelphia against the Diamondbacks of Arizona. So that's it for that. So let's get to the college football commentary. Before I get into what took place last week, let me get into what took place last night. I mean, this is crazy what happened last night. I mean, if you was able to tune into this game, I saw snippets of that game a little bit last night, on my phone. The Colorado Buffaloes is up 29-0 and all this other stuff, thinking, okay, yeah, you think that the game is over, but it's never over till it's over. And last night, the craziest thing happened, man. They lost last night, Colorado. Now, this Colorado program with Deion Sanders, a lot of attention, a lot of recognition, rightfully so. But their attention is going to start waning. I mean, when you lose like this, you're up 29-0 at halftime. You got Travis Hunter back. He came back, so you can't make excuse about they didn't have him. He came back and still lost the game to Stanford, 46-43 in double overtime. They gave up 294 yards receiving on the defensive end to a guy named Alec Yamaner. had a school record 294 yards receiving, almost 300 yards receiving as Stanford rallied from a 29-point deficit to win in overtime, double overtime, 46-43. Crazy. That's the largest lead ever blown by the Buffaloes. Previously, it was a 28-point lead against Kansas about 13 years ago, on November 6, 2010. Now you lose a game like this to a Cardinal team who's 1-4. Now they 2-4. Give credit to Justin Lampson. Give credit. They did something in the second half, and they got it done. Give them credit. This is the largest comeback in Stanford history. Fourth largest comeback in Pac-12 history. The largest halftime deficit to win in the Pac-12 history. This is largely blown by Colorado since it was founded in 1890. And then they gave up a 97-yard touchdown to Ayamanar, who had 3 touchdowns, including one to tie it in the first overtime. He scored on a 97-yard touchdown. Also, the 294 yards receiving broke the school record that was held by Troy Walters, 278 against UCLA, 1999. Also, Colorado played poorly as far as discipline, 17 penalties for 127 yards. And that's a terrible, terrible loss for Colorado. Even though they're not ranked, but still, you gotta win that game. Now they 4-3, and also they 1-3 in the conference. Shedeur Sanders in defeat played great, 400 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, ran for 37 yards. But still, Travis Hunter was back. He had 13 catches for 140 yards and 2 scores. Had 5 tackles. So you can't make excuses. You cannot lose a game like that. You cannot lose if you're Colorado. Because all this hype, they've been the media darlings. But that's going to start waning even more. Because if you don't win, why be irrelevant? Why be relevant? Why people should pay attention to Colorado? You know what I'm saying? Especially, when you're losing these kind of games. So it's great to see Travis Hunter back, 2-way player. Again, 13 catches for 140 yards, 2 scores. He had 5 tackles, so he was back, but they still lost the game. They're allowing not 36 points a game. Colorado, they don't have a defense, and Colorado has a bye week. And they travel to play UCLA October 28th. Much needed bye week. They gotta gather themselves and get together. So that's the storyline. I want to talk about that. All right, so let's go back to last week. You had Red River rivalry. You had Texas and Oklahoma. I was wrong about this game. I had Texas win this game. We'll give credit to Oklahoma. They won 34-30. It was a monumental win for them. They're 6-0. Gabriel tossed a late touchdown pass in the fourth quarter. 15 seconds left to Nick Anderson. Gabriel threw 1 touchdown, 285 yards, played very well. And also he ran for 113 yards as well. So he definitely did his thing as a dual threat. He can beat you with your pass and beat you with your legs, and Gabriel did that the best way he could. So Texas loses this game. Oklahoma's still undefeated. You had Maryland losing to Ohio State, no surprise here, 37-17. LSU beat Missouri 49-39. UCLA upset number 13 Washington State 25-17. Florida State beat Virginia Tech 39-17. Alabama beat Texas A&M 26-20. North Carolina blew out Syracuse 40-7. Kentucky, number 20 team in the country, got blown out by Georgia. No surprise there, 51-13. Michigan blew out Minnesota 52-10. Ole Miss 27 over Arkansas 20. Notre Dame got beat 33-20. That snapped the 30-game winning streak against ACC opponents. So that was a big win for Louisville. They're 6-0. Jahar Jordan ran for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this is a big win for the ACC against Notre Dame, because Notre Dame came into this game winning 30 straight games against ACC opponents going back to 2017. So that was a long winning streak that they had against ACC opponents. Also, the Louisville Cardinals not only beat an Associated Press top 10 opponent consecutive seasons for the first time in school history, but one of the most obviously storied programs in college football history in the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So that was a big win for them. Now, the game that really wasn't on people's radar, but it was a big deal because of the bad decision by the coaching, whether it be Mario Cristobal or Shannon Dawson, whoever it is. Miami Hurricanes should have won this game. They were favored by 19 points against Georgia Tech. Number 17 team in the country wearing these black uniforms, which they need to burn and throw away. Why you gotta wear black uniforms to face any team? I don't understand it. Alternate uniforms. But anyway, Miami had a 20-17 lead. No timeouts for Georgia Tech, no timeouts. And they decided to run the ball. They line up in a shotgun and they run the football to Donald Chaney Jr., which didn't make no sense at all why they would do that. So they do that nonsense, and Georgia Tech strips the ball. The defender of Georgia Tech strips the ball. They recover it. But when you look at the replay, Donald Chaney had his elbow down. That was not a fumble. That was not a fumble. I think that was a bad call. I think it was not a fumble. There's no way that was a fumble. It should have been Miami's ball. They should have retained it, had possession. That was a bad call. But anyway, they gave it to Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech has a chance of at least getting field goal range. They possibly win the game. Now they give up a long pass play to Miami defense. So they get into like midfield. And then the next play, 44 yards. Haynes King to Christian Leary. Touchdown. With like 1 seconds left in the game. Wide open. Heartbreaking lows. Because Miami, first of all, came out flat. Tyler Van Dyke threw 3 interceptions. It was up 10-0. But they didn't do enough on defense to keep them out the end zone, Georgia Tech. Give credit to Georgia Tech. Also give credit to Georgia Tech for keep on playing to the whistle. Now that they got gift wrap a running play, which don't make any sense. Because the issue is, all they had to do was take a knee. Georgia Tech has no timeouts in the fourth quarter. Take a knee. And they don't do it. They go run the ball on a draw play in a shotgun formation. Why are you going to do that? Take a knee, you're 5-0. Because the thing about this loss is that it dropped Miami to number 25 in the country. It dropped them 8 spots down. So they lucky that they did not drop out of the top 25. But you got to win that game. You win that game, even though you didn't cover with being 19-point favorites. Still, you can move up in the top 15. And that would be a much better game tonight against North Carolina, who's number 12 in the country. So that was a big story last week with why didn't Miami take a knee? Because if they just took a knee, this would have been overlooked, irrelevant. Not a big deal, but because of the upset and because of the decision making by the coaches, you had this nonsense. It don't make no sense. So I'm saying, so to me, that wasn't a fumble. I think he was down by contact. He made contact with his elbow. That was not a fumble. But either way, your defense, Miami guys stopped him. And they don't do it. So that was a bad loss for Miami. Now they got to travel to Chapel Hill tonight. 7:30. This is a big game. 3rd and 10. They run the draw play. And that's how the fumble happened. On 3rd down and 10. No timeouts for Georgia Tech. You give them a gift. That makes sense. Now Miami has to show what they made of tonight. This is where you show what kind of character you got, what kind of gut check you got. Are you going to let this psychological damage you for the season, or are you going to come back and get a win against North Carolina, who's beaten Miami 4 years in a row? Now you got to step up. You got to show what you made of this time. This is what it's about. You got to know what you got to do. You got to show what you're about right now, tonight. Because the thing about Miami, they've been bad after the bye week. They're 2-7 after the bye week. Coming off a bye week. They're 2-7, going back to the Mark Rick era and Manny Diaz era. Now into this era of Coach Mario Cristobal. When there's a bye week, after the bye week is over, they end up playing bad and losing. Come on, man, you gotta get together. So we're gonna see what Miami's gonna be about tonight. We're gonna see. Because if they lose tonight, get blown out 45-10, that loss, they have not recovered. They come out flat, dead, not have no energy, no intensity. That means they have not gotten over that loss from last week. So that's how I feel about it, man. I just think that if the Hurricanes gonna get back to being great again, you gotta run the table. Now this is the second year of Mario Cristobal. His second year. I give it time if you're a Hurricane fan, but at the same time, you gotta make strides. You had to win this game because it was the first home game against a conference opponent in the ACC. That's been Miami's problem. They don't know how to win in the ACC. They don't know how to win. So I think the main thing is now they gotta get it together, else they're not gonna make it. So I think that's the main thing. What the Hurricanes gonna do tonight? I'm looking forward to watching this game tonight and see how the Hurricanes answer the challenge. A tough loss, a brutal loss to Georgia Tech. They should not have lost to them. But this is a tough game. You got Clemson next week, who Miami never beats. That's Clemson, not the same team. Same program as used to be. They're not ranked. But they are Clemson. They know how to beat Miami, though. They know how to beat them. So if they got to get it done, they have to get it done tonight. Just, put that loss behind them. So they can be in a situation where they're 5-1. Okay, you're 5-1. Now you're getting ready for Clemson. That's what it's about. Put this loss behind you and run the table. That's what the old Hurricanes would do. They run the table. They don't just lose and just start losing. No. Get off the mat and start winning again. Start winning games. Go on a winning streak. That's what it's about. So we're going to see what the Hurricanes are about, what they made of tonight against North Carolina. What they're going to do tonight. How they're going to react. How they're going to respond. How? We shall see tonight against North Carolina. It's beating them 4 straight years in a row. We're going to see. We're going to see. Because they lose tonight in a blowout, they not that good. Here we go. Miami's falling apart again. That was not a good loss. That was a bad loss for Miami. They lucky to be still ranked in the top 25. So I want to get into that because that was a big deal. Why did Miami take a knee? Because they took a knee when they won't be talking about Georgia Tech and Miami. They'll talk about it. Oh, Miami won a close game, stuff like that. But they wouldn't be talking about some nonsense about why they didn't take a knee. So that's what it comes down to. So North Carolina has won 4 meetings since Mac Brown been with Chapel and been at Chapel Hill with North Carolina. We're going to see. All right, so that's it, man. That's it for that. Let's move on to the picks of the week. I'm going to go over the games that's going on right now. But the picks of the week, last week I didn't do good. I was 2-3. I had Miami to win this game. I was dead wrong on that. Let's get back to look back at that. Last week's games. I was 2-3. I had Texas over Oklahoma. I was wrong on that. The only games I got right was LSU over Missouri and Georgia over Kentucky. I was right about that. Miami lost, Notre Dame lost, and Texas lost. So I was 2-3. So my record's still 15 games over 500, 25-10. Now let's fast forward to these games for today. Got Georgia over Vanderbilt. Georgia they lead the series 60-20 with 2 ties. Got Florida State over Syracuse. Florida State leads the series 13-2. Oregon over Washington. That's the big game of the day right there. Number 7 versus number 8. That's going to be a monumental game that comes on in about an hour, 3:30, hour from now. Oregon and Washington. That's the best game of the day by far, by a landslide. Washington leads the series 61-48 with 5 ties. USC, I got them beating Notre Dame. Notre Dame leads the series 48-37 with 5 ties. And I got LSU over Auburn. LSU leads the series 32-24 with 1 tie. Okay, so that's the games I got today. Georgia, Florida State, Oregon, USC, LSU. Those are the games I got with the draft. With the picks of the week. So let's fast forward to now. Let's look at the games today. Right now, in the end of the third quarter, Georgia is beating Vanderbilt. No surprise here, 27-7. But Vanderbilt has the ball at the Georgia 3-yard line. This game is in Vanderbilt. Indiana, Michigan blowing out Indiana. No surprise, 38-7. Ohio State is beating Purdue 27-0. Florida State beat Syracuse 24-3. No surprise here. Arkansas is losing to Alabama 24-13. So there's no surprises right now. Most of the teams that you expect to be up are winning. So that's it right now in the top 25. Like I said, the big game is at 3:30 between Oregon and Washington. Oregon's number 8 in the country. Washington's number 7 in the country. The thing about Oregon is Oregon has played great on defense. They have not allowed a touchdown in a long time. They've outscored their opponents, Colorado and Stanford, 84-12. So see what they do against Washington. This is going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be touchdown score, obviously. So, it depends on the level of opponent. But this is going to be a great matchup. Great game. It's the first time both number 7 Washington and number 8 Oregon will be ranked in the top 10 when they meet today in Husky Stadium. So this is a game like any other between these rivals, and it's going to be a good one, man. Looking forward to checking it out after the show is over. Maybe peeking a little bit while I'm talking about the NFL, but with the scores. But this is a big game right here. Gets no better than this. Okay, so storyline on that. So that's basically it, man. As far as the college football coverage, what I had to talk about with the college football, and that's basically it. So I'm gonna take my 4 music break songs, come back with more of the Rashad Show, get into some National Football League talk and UFC fighting schedule, and that'll be it. Maybe get into some headlines in sports, but that's gonna be on the docket in the next hour. Just talk about in the second half of the show, rather. Just talk about the NFL, the games that we played last week. Get into review of that. Also get into the games that you need to know for tomorrow and Monday, and get into that and close out the show with the UFC fighting schedule, and that'll be it. So that's it right now. But there's nothing going on in college football as far as like upset alerts with what's going on right now. Every team that is ranked ahead of the team that they're playing is ahead. So that's basically it. So hopefully you enjoyed what I talked about this first half of the hour. First half of the show, that's it. I'm done with the show for now. For this first half, I'm gonna come back with 5 music break songs. I have a bonus song that's gonna be played that wasn't able to be played, but we're gonna play it. So it's gonna be 5 music break songs. So it's gonna be a long break, the 5 music break songs, and then come back with the NFL talk and also UFC fighting schedule and close out the show. This is the Rashad Mitchell Show every single Saturday afternoon from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Gyroscope Radio. Be right back.
Baby, I know, no.
Talented on the beat. Talented on the beat.
Baby, I know, no.
Talented on the beat. Talented on the beat.
Baby, I know, no.
Talented on the beat.
Baby, I know, no.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the 344th episode of the Rashad Mitchell Show, live on Job Sport Radio. Let's get into the NFL talk. Let's get into it. The games for tomorrow and on Monday. Let's get into that. So we're gonna start with the Ravens and the Titans. That's the game gonna be played in London again. That's what they've been doing the last two Sundays. That the games have been in London. Last week it was the Bills and the Jaguars. The week before that it was I forgot who played in Jacksonville. I think it was not Jacksonville, it was somebody else. Yeah, it was Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville played somebody, and yeah, it was Atlanta. Jacksonville and Atlanta. They played in London, and now third straight week got another London matchup in London. This time it's the Ravens and the Titans. Last week it was the Jacksonville and the Buffalo Bills, and then you had Jacksonville and Atlanta. That was in London. So this game is interesting. Obviously, the Ravens and the Titans. And the thing to look at in this game at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is that the Titans have scored touchdowns on only 35.3% of their red zone visits this season, landing them in a tie with the Texans for third worst in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Ravens' red zone defense has given up touchdowns on an NFL low 25% of opposing offenses. Visits inside the 20-yard line, getting 7 points instead of kicking field goals could be the difference, as 3 of the Titans' 5 games this season have been decided by 1 score. Stat to know is that the Titans have scored fewer than 30 points in 23 straight games, so obviously they don't have a great offense. And when you seem to struggle offensively to score these 30 points, you know you're not great on offense. You're not effective on offense, and the thing it shows that when you only can score fewer than 30 points in 23 straight games. So the longest active streak in the NFL, and also it's the longest in franchise history for the Tennessee Titans. So the matchup factor to keep your eyes on is defensive lineman of the Titans, Nico Autry. When lined up as an edge rusher, Autry has a 24% pass rush win rate, which would rank right on the fringe of the top 10 if he qualified. He also has 4 sacks. All right, so that's just a snippet of what I want to talk about. Actually, I wanted to talk about the games for last week, so I've got to go backwards, go and rewind the games for last week. So I'm gonna get back to the games, what you need to know, the games from tomorrow. So let's go backwards. Let's go back to October 5th. The Bears beat the Commanders 40-20 on Thursday night. The Jaguars beat the Bills 25-20. That's what took place. Again, October 1st, a couple weeks ago, Jacksonville played the Atlanta Falcons in London. And then Jacksonville played the Buffalo Bills. And now tomorrow's going to be Baltimore and Tennessee. All right. Jacksonville beat the Buffalo Bills 25-20. This is a surprising win. I thought the Bills, they've been playing well. They've been playing great. They lose to the Jaguars, these 2 playoff teams from last year. And Jacksonville did their thing. They ran the ball very well with Travis Etienne. He ran for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns, 26 carries, dominated the game. Trevor Lawrence played well, 315 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Calvin Ridley, 122 yards, 7 catches, did his thing, and they won the game 25-20. Okay, that was the game that was in London last week. The Titans and the Colts. The Colts won 23-16. Big win for the Colts. They are 3-2. They're over 500. And Zach Moss was the difference maker, man. He ran for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 carries. Despite Jonathan Taylor being back, he was the guy that made the difference. And Derrick Henry was shut down. He had 43 yards rushing. They're 2-3. And they again, Tennessee, they will be playing Baltimore tomorrow. So the Colts are 3-2 on the season. And things continue to get worse for the Patriots, man. They just don't look good. I mean, the Patriots just don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offense. They don't have nothing offensively to show you that they have something to do big, great things with as far as offense is concerned. They got shut out 34-0 to the Saints at home. 34-0. I mean, this is a dominant performance by the Saints. The Saints are 3-2, while the Patriots fall to 1-4 on the season. Kamara became the Saints' career touchdown leader. So congrats to him for that accomplishment. Tyrann Mathieu had a 27-yard interception return for a touchdown. With Kamara, he had his 73rd career touchdown, 22 carries for 80 yards. Derek Carr had a solid game, 183 yards passing, 18 to 26, 4 catches for 65 yards by Michael Thomas, and a 2-game losing streak. Again, when you look at the Patriots, just don't have a quarterback. Mac Jones is not that guy. They made a bad decision and drafted him, and he's playing like he don't belong in the NFL. And this is the second worst shutout loss for the Patriots since 1972 when they lost to Miami Dolphins, who went on to go undefeated 52-0. And it's also the worst Bill Belichick as a coach has been since 2000, being 1-4. He remains a win short of joining Hall of Famers Don Shula and George Halas as the only coaches in NFL with 300 regular season victories. Jones played terrible, a pick six, he lost a fumble, had an interception, 110 yards passing. That's not going to cut it in today's NFL, passing it for that many yards. So that's a bad loss for them. Another bad loss for the Ravens, who play Tennessee tomorrow, lose to the Steelers. They had a lead, they had control of the game, and they was up 10-0, 10-3. Had a chance to win this game, but give credit to the Steelers, a 14-10 lead on behalf of Kenny Pickett, the quarterback, throwing the touchdown, 41 yards to George Pickens. They kicked the field goal to make it 17-10. They went on to win the game. And this is a rivalry. This is a classic rivalry between the Ravens and the Steelers. When you talk about rivalries, this is a rivalry, one of the best in the National Football League. It's going to be hard-hitting. It's going to be defensive-oriented. It's going to be all about defense. It's not going to be 35-38. It's going to be these kind of games, low scoring. But when we look at the Ravens should have won this game handily. They should have capitalized on the opportunities that they had to win this game, and they didn't do it. I give credit to Pittsburgh at 3-2, and Baltimore falls at 3-2. So this is what rivalry's all about. When you talk about these kind of games, low scoring, no great offense, no explosiveness on offense, this tight defense, run the ball, tight. It's gonna come down to the wire, and it's lost luster because they don't play in the playoffs like they used to, or be in the mix for a Super Bowl like they used to. So I think from that perspective, the rivalry is not as intense as it used to be. When you look at this rivalry, because you talk about championship implications, a lot on the line, postseason, stuff like that. It's still intense, but not as intense from when Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback. When they had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and those guys, that's when it was, very intense to me, as far as that's concerned, going way back. Joe Flacco was a quarterback, basically. That's when it had, a very intense rivalry. So big win for the Steelers. The Falcons beat the Texans 21-19. Falcons are 3-2 right now. C.J. Stroud, despite losing the game, one touchdown, 249 yards, one touchdown, 20 of 35, did his thing, Stroud. Not no interceptions yet. Setting a record, I think. Let me look this up, because he set a record for not throwing an interception to start a career, or as a rookie. Let's look into that. Yeah, he set an NFL record by starting his career with 177 pass attempts without an interception. He broke the record that was held by Dak Prescott. He set the NFL record a week earlier with 151 attempts. So the thing about C.J. Stroud is taking care of the football when you don't throw an interception. Now we going into week 6. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. That shows you that he's making good decisions with his reads. He's reading the defense properly well. He's not putting the ball in harm's way. He's not doing anything to hurt his team. As far as being a turnover machine, interception-wise, as a rookie, that's far advanced right there. So that's a good look with him getting it done. The Texans will play the New Orleans Saints. That's going to be a tough test for them. Saints have a good defense, and they know how to get it done. And obviously, they shut out the Patriots last week, 34-0. So see if they score some points against the Saints defense. The Panthers lost to the Lions. No surprise here, 42-24. Detroit's going to win that division. The way they're playing right now, they definitely got all the front runs for that division championship. Jared Goff, very underrated quarterback, man. 3 touchdowns, ran for a score as they beat the lowly Carolina Panthers 42-24. This is a dominant performance. No surprise here, man. There's Bryce Young was back, 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, but it was all about Goff, 236 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and Montgomery, 109 yards in a touchdown. So they're running the ball, and as well as they are passing it. So they got balance and they playing side good defense. Aiden Hutchinson doing his thing. So also it was a record that was set. The Detroit Lions, they was able to top 20, at least 20 points for a team record 14th consecutive game. And that's the first time in history that you see this team do this. And they are top of the division in October or later for the first time since 2016. Have won 12 of their last 15 games dating back to last season. So again, he's supposed to beat the Panthers. Man, the Panthers not that good. They 0-5, so they're supposed to beat them. But this team is a good team. They're gonna be heard from, and I'll give him credit for that. Also, Aiden Hutchinson, who I just mentioned, used his right hand to snag Young's short pass in the first quarter, became the first NFL defensive lineman to have 4 interceptions in his first 2 seasons. So this guy can rush the passer, he can do it all, and also he can get interceptions. David Montgomery, on the other hand, had 109 yards rushing. He became the first line to run for 100 plus yards and score in 2 straight games since Kevin Jones in 2004. So everything looks good. Everything's on up and up. See if they keep it going. Detroit plays at Tampa Bay. That's a great game. Tomorrow. And the game against Tampa, which is a great game tomorrow afternoon, has been moved to late afternoon start to take advantage of Detroit's surging popularity. So Detroit is looking good, man. See if they keep it up tomorrow. Dolphins beat the Giants 31-16. No surprise there. No surprise. Too much speed. A-Chain and Tyreek Hill, big time plays. A-Chain had a 76-yard run for a touchdown. 69-yard touchdown pass from Tua to Hill. No surprise there. Speed kills. And that's what's about. Only touchdown the Giants scored was a Jason Pinnock 102-yard interception return. That was it. Giants are just bad right now. No Saquon Barkley again. Looks like he may not play tomorrow against the Buffalo Bills. Daniel Jones got hurt. He hurt his neck. He's not going to be playing against the Buffalo Bills. Tyrod Taylor will be replacing him, and he'll be doing his thing and making it happen. So see if he can hold up against the Buffalo Bills tomorrow from an offensive standpoint against their defense. The Dolphins, on the other hand, had 524 yards of offense. That gave them 2,568 yards for the season, for the most yards through the first 5 games of the season in NFL history. And they gained first place over the Buffalo Bills because they lost to Jacksonville last week. So that's the storyline on that. Tua Tagovailoa had 308 yards passing, 22 of 30. Again, Daniel Jones got, when he got sacked, he hurt his neck. Again, but he's not going to be playing tomorrow. So that's the storyline on that. The Bengals, man, they look like the old Bengals, man. Maybe this would be the turning point for the Bengals. The Bengals beat the Arizona Cardinals 34-20. 3 touchdowns from Burrow to Chase. Big time performance right there. Give credit where it's due to Cincinnati. Cincinnati play like you expect them to play. This is what the Cincinnati Bengals are about. When you're a Bengals fan, you know this is what the Bengals are about. Throwing for a lot of touchdowns for Burrow. Chase doing his thing, 15 catches, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Definitely the best performance of the week last week was Jamar Chase with his catches and his receiving yards and touchdowns. This is what it's all about. This is what the Bengals are about. But can they keep it going? They play Seattle tomorrow. They're 2-3 right now, but this is what the Bengals are supposed to be, putting up many amount of points, doing it with the explosiveness of the offense. Burrow to Jamar Chase, that connection, clicking on all cylinders, running the ball with Mixon. This is what the Bengals are all about. But can they continue on with this when they play Seattle tomorrow? And then you got Eagles and the Rams. Eagles are undefeated 5-0. They did with tough defense. Hurts did his thing, did enough to win. He ran the ball well, 72 yards rushing, 200 yards passing, 127 yards received by A.J. Brown. He did enough to win. And now they're 4-5-0 on the season. Play the Jets tomorrow. No surprise with that win. Jets beat the Broncos. No surprise here. The Broncos continue to struggle, playing terrible. But this team is 2-3 right now. They rallied past the Broncos, got it done. They won 31-21. Big game from Breece Hall, 177 yards and a touchdown. Wilson played solid. Yes, he threw an interception, but 199 yards passing. He did enough. And the thing about the Jets is that they had balance. They didn't have to rely so much on Wilson to do so much. So they got to continue with that formula to get the job done. So they're 2-3 over the lowly Broncos of Denver. Just a terrible season, which they lost this past week, 19-8, to the Chiefs. Speaking of the Chiefs, I had the Vikings beating the Chiefs. I was dead wrong. The Chiefs win this game 27-20, and the Vikings continue to lose one-score games. Last year they were 11-0 in one-score games. Now they're struggling in one-score games this year. So it's a difference a year makes when you win one-score games the previous year, second time around. Next year you don't do the same thing. As Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win 27-20. Did enough to win 2 touchdown passes by Mahomes. Kelsey had a touchdown catch, and they win the game. So now they are 4-1, now 5-1 after they beat the Broncos this past week to start the new week of the season. I think this is week 6. So another thing that was interesting too is that with this win, personally, Patrick Mahomes has beaten every team he's faced, all 32 teams in his career. He's not even 30 yet. So let me see. That was a stat that stood out. I saw somewhere where he beat every team. Yeah, he beat at least one opponent. He has one win at least against every opponent in the league, because the Vikings were the only team he never beaten in 6 years as a starter. So he's beaten at least one opponent in the league, every opponent. He has at least one win against every opponent in the league. That's amazing. So he faced all the teams in the league and beaten them, including the Vikings. So that's an interesting feat. And the game of the week didn't live up to its hype, unfortunately. The 49ers beat the Cowboys 42-10. Dominant performance by the 49ers on defense and especially on offense. Brock Purdy continues to play well. He's 10-0 as a starter. Threw 4 touchdowns, 252 yards passing, 17 of 24. George Kittle scored 3 touchdown passes, showing why he's one of the best tight ends. They don't really mention him that much because all the attention on the pub goes to Travis Kelce doing the commercials and all this other stuff. So he gets a lot of attention. George Kittle is kind of like under the radar. Don't know that much about him as far as him as a player. They know that he's been in the league a long time. He's done a lot of great things. He's been in the league a long time. But the thing is that he's a guy that is very underrated. When you talk about the best tight ends, he's up there with Kelce, but Kittle is very under the radar in a sense because he gets overshadowed by Kelce a lot. I think that's the reason people know he's a big time tight end, but it's all the attention goes to Kelce all the time. But that was a big time win for 49ers, and the Cowboys once again fall short in the big game. They're 3-2 right now. The defense was awful. They were terrible. Parsons did not do anything in the game to make an impact in the game. So it is what it is. And that's it, man. That's all that needs to be said about that. The Cowboys got to get together. Dak Prescott is not that guy. He's 3 interceptions again, playing poorly in the big game again. This is not the guy that can win championships for the Dallas Cowboys. He's not that guy. How many times we got to see him play poorly in a big game with Dak Prescott? He's not that guy. Simple. They're not winning the championship with this guy, Dak Prescott. He's just not that guy to deliver the goods for the Cowboys. And finally, this is a terrible game on Monday night. The Raiders and the Packers, that was a terrible game. The Raiders won 17-3. Both teams are 2-3 right now, but this is a bad game. I have nothing to say about that. That was just a terrible game. That's all that needs to be said about that. So that was on the docket for week 5 was those games. So let's fast forward to week 6. Let's get into what's going to be taking place for this week. Again, the Chiefs beat the Broncos 19-8 to start off week 6. So they're 5-1, and 1-5 is the Denver Broncos, man. Just terrible team, the Broncos. Man. It's not that good, man. They're bad, very, very bad, very bad, man. We look at Russell Wilson for 95 yards passing. That's all you can do. Terrible. So that's it for them. They're not going nowhere. They're not going to the playoffs. The Broncos. All right, so let's get into what to look for, what to keep your eyes on with the games that's coming up. I did talk about the Ravens and the Titans. Already got into that, so I'm gonna get into the other games that's gonna be played tomorrow and on Monday. So quickly, let's get into it. Let's get to the other games. The next game on the docket is the San Francisco 49ers and the Browns. The 49ers travel to Cleveland tomorrow. They're 5-0. So what to look for is that this game is pitting one of the NFL's best offenses against one of its best defenses. Why? Because the 49ers are number 2 in offensive efficiency, 87.1, while the Browns are number 1 in defensive, 87.0. The 49ers have scored 30 points in 8 straight games, the 5th longest streak in NFL history, but the Browns have given up just 5 offensive touchdowns all season. Stat to know is that this will be Cleveland defensive end Myles Garrett's 89th career game. His 80 sacks are the third most by any player in his first 90 career games since 1982, when sacks became official. So after Hall of Famer Reggie White, 98, and the Steelers' TJ Watt, 83.5. Matchup X Factor, 49ers offensive tackle, Trent Williams. That's what keep your eyes on, Trent Williams. Garrett lines up typically on the left tackle, on the left side of the left tackle. See if he lines up against Trent Williams, but he's the X Factor, Trent Williams, offensive lineman of the 49ers. So that's a game to keep your eyes on with that game. Also, another thing too, Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is out. He's not going to be playing against the 49ers, so that's bad for Cleveland. So the 49ers is going to pin their ears back with Bosa and those guys. Fred Warner, that's going to be a long night, a long afternoon for whoever's going to be placing him. I think it's going to be Dorian Robinson. No, PJ Walker. PJ Walker is going to be replacing him. That's going to be a long game. They're going to lose that game. I don't think they're going to win even if Watson plays. Actually, Daniel Jones out against the Bills tomorrow with the neck injury. But as I continue on with the games that you need to know, keep your eyes on. Okay. Next game on the docket is this is a very interesting game. Seattle Seahawks against the Bengals. The Bengals come off a big win against the Cardinals. The offense definitely woke up, played well. Now they're facing the Seahawks team that knows how to get to the quarterback. They're 3-1. This is an interesting game. So Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Bengals, had to respond against this pass rush. Why is it so important? Because the pass rush of Seattle is 4th in the NFL in pass rush win rate. And this defensive front has the Bengals' attention, so we're going to see how things go with that. Sad to know is that the Bengals have won 6 straight regular season games against NFC opponents, second longest active winning streak versus the opposing conference. The Eagles have won 8 straight against the AFC. Matchup X Factor is Seahawks cornerbacks Rick Woolen and Michael Jackson. The emergence of Burrow-Jamar Chase connection last week makes the Bengals dangerous again, tough to deal with again, so we'll see if they can slow down Chase, maybe T. Higgins. I know T.J. Higgins is going to be playing tomorrow. Is he questionable? Who knows about that? Yeah, ribs. He has rib injury. So we'll see if he plays. So that's another thing to keep your eyes on with that. All right. Let's keep it going. Next game. This is a terrible game, right? I'm not even going to get into this game. This is a bad game right here. The Vikings and the Bears. Now, only thing I can say is that DJ Moore, he's the receiver that Justin Fields needs, and he played great. DJ Moore, 230 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns against the Washington Commanders. Right now, Moore is 5th in the league in 531 yards receiving, entering week 6, so that's a good look. Now, the only thing that needs to be said about the Vikings again, they were so great in one-score games last year. They're 11-0, but this year, they 1-4 this season in one-score games. Last year, they were 11-0. So they are the only team to play in 5 one-score games in 2023. That's all that needs to be said about that. That's a terrible game. This is an interesting game. Commanders 2-3 against the Falcons, 3-2. The Falcons trying to go 4-2. Surprisingly, Desmond Ridder doing his thing. They're at home. But the thing about this matchup is that these two teams have a history playing close games. Because Washington won with 33 seconds left in 2021. 2022, Marcus Mariota threw an interception to Washington end zone with 103 remaining, with Washington winning both games. Now the key in this game is going to be in the trenches with the lines. Defensive talent, defensive front of the Washington Commanders going against Desmond Ridder, who has been sacked 16 times. So keep your eyes on the defensive line of Washington trying to get after Desmond Ridder of Atlanta. Sad to know is that Sam Howell has been sacked NFL high 29 times. David Carr is the most sacked quarterback through 6 games of a season since sacks was tracked. in 1963. So when you look at this game, you got Sam Howell and Desmond Ritter. You got to deal with them being protected because they get sacked a lot, especially Sam Howell. The pass rush of the Commanders is going to be an X factor. Um, at the same time, the Commanders ranked just 26 in pass rush win rate, and Ritter has taken sacks at a higher than average 9% rate. 9% rate. Next game, this is not a good game. This is terrible. This should be all Dolphins unless they fall asleep. They're favored by 13.5 points. The Dolphins against the Panthers. This should be a blowout. So there's nothing to even get into this with this game. It's just a classic mismatch. It should be a mismatch. So I'm going to skip this game. I'm not going to get into details. This is a good game. The Colts and the Jaguars. Both teams are 3-2. This is an interesting game for Gardner Minshew, because he played his first 2 seasons with the Jaguars. He went 7-13 as a starter before they Jacksonville drafted Trevor Lawrence. But anyway, he's coming back along with Jonathan Taylor. He has a larger role. He rushed for 522 yards and 3 touchdowns in 5 games against the Jaguars. The Jaguars defense has been very good against the run, so far allowing 81.6 yards per game, ranked 5th in the NFL. So we'll see if that matchup will be determining factor in the outcome. Stat to know is that Trevor Lawrence has a 75 QBR, ranked 4th in the NFL, 7.7% off target percentage, 2nd lowest in the NFL against zone coverage this season. That's important because the Colts use zone coverage at the 10th highest rate in the NFL. Edge rusher Quiddy. Hey, Colts edge rusher. That's the X factor to keep your eyes on. Playing opposite Jaguars rookie tackle Anton Harrison, who has the worst pass block win rate at tackle. This is a very interesting game. Saints and the Texans, 3-2. Saints against the Texans, 2-3. The thing that's interesting about this game, again, C.J. Stroud, the Texas rookie sensation, is 3rd in passing yards, 1,461 yards, has yet to throw an interception, man. We in week 6, and this gentleman is not throwing an interception. 186 passes, NFL record without interception. So that's the thing to keep your eyes on. The Saints have allowed 6th lowest QBR, and their 7 interceptions are tied for 3rd most in the NFL. So the thing to keep your eyes on is, will C.J. Stroud throw an interception at home against the Saints? Stat to know is that Alvin Kamara has 50 career rushing touchdowns. He's 2 shy of tying Mark Ingram for the most in Saints history. Kamara became the Saints' all-time leader in total touchdowns with 73 last week against the Patriots, passing Marcus Colston. Now, Ryan Ramczyk, the right tackle of the Saints, he's one of the best tackles in the league, but he has a key assignment against number 3 overall pick Will Anderson Jr. Now, Anderson Jr. hasn't had a sack in 4 games, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. This is another bad game. The Patriots and the Raiders. There's nothing to get into this. This is just a terrible game. This game is at 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Terrible football game. I'm not going to get into this game. This is a terrible game. All that needs to be said is that Josh McDaniels, the Raiders coach, is 2-0 against the Bill Belichick. And that's that. And he's 6-0, joining Dave Wannstedt as the only coach to defeat Belichick, the Patriots, in each of their first 3 meetings. This is a terrible game. Simple as that. Next, we got 4:25. This is another bad game. The Cardinals and the Rams. Terrible football game. Cardinals and the Rams. This game's at 4:25. Terrible football game. Skipping that. This is okay. Maybe an upset, possibly. The Eagles travel to MetLife Stadium to play the Jets. Eagles and the Jets. The thing to get into this game is that you got 2 of the most productive running backs in the league right now. And DeAndre Swift of the Eagles, who has 434 yards rushing. That's 4th in the rushing yards. And also Breece Hall, who's 6th in rushing with 387 rushing yards. He's coming off a 177-yard game against the Broncos. So Jets also looking to pull off the upset, and it'll be their first ever win over the Eagles. So the Jets have never beaten the Eagles. So see if they can do that for the first time. Sad to know is that Jalen Hurts has 55 rushes, the most among quarterbacks, 206 yards rushing, 2nd most in 4 touchdowns, tied for the most this season. He's facing the Jets, who have allowed the 2nd most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks this season. That's right, it's the offensive line of the Jets. Again, this is a very good game. Very good game right here. This is maybe the best game of the week. You look at the games in this coming Sunday tomorrow. 4-1 Detroit Lions against the 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is maybe the best game to watch. You talk about good games, really good games. Is this one, Tampa Bay versus Detroit, the best game of the week. 4:25 Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be a good one. This is a good game right here. The best game, arguably, of the week. So you got the records, got everything that you need. This is going to be a great game right here. So what to look for is that you got the NFC North leader in the division against the leader of the NFC South division. The Lions are on fire. They're hot, averaging 29.6 points a game. That's fourth best in the league. While the Bucks defense boasts one of the league's stingiest red zone defenses. The Bucks are holding opponents to 27.3% efficiency rate in the red zone, second best. And of course, the quarterbacks are completing just 33.3% of their passes in the red zone. That's the best mark in the NFL. So that's what you need to keep your eyes on is the Lions offense. Obviously, they're red hot against a red zone defense in the Bucks. So you know that the Lions are going to move the ball eventually on this defense of the Bucks. Now, the Buccaneers have allowed 4 sacks this season, which is the fewest allowed by the team through 4 games since 2008. Also 4. And the Lions have registered 14 sacks so far this season. That is tied for 14th most in the NFL. So someone's got to give in this game. So keep your eyes on this matchup, man. It's going to be a good matchup. Jameson Williams is the wide receiver of the Lions. He's the matchup X factor. And tomorrow night's game was a terrible game. Again, Tyrod Taylor is going to be playing this game. Awful. And this is a bad game right here. The Bills and the Giants on Sunday Night Football is a terrible game. Both teams coming off of losses. This could get ugly for the Giants, man. Giants defense not playing that great. They're giving up 5.3 yards per rush and 6.3 yards per play, 31 this season. So you think that the Buffalo Bills will bounce back from an offensive standpoint, played great against the Giants. They're 14-point favorites, rightfully so. They're double-digit favorites. And bottom line is that Giants is not that good. Awful. Stat to know is that the Bills have used nickel defense on 95.8% of their plays this season, the highest rate in the NFL. They have dominated opponents using 5+ defensive backs, ranking first in both touchdowns to interception ratio and sack rate. The Giants, who struggle against defenses with 5+ defensive backs, rank last in those metrics. So Tyrod Taylor will be playing tomorrow. No Daniel Jones because he's out with a neck injury. So it's a wrap with that. The Giants gonna lose. They're gonna lose tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think the Giants are gonna win that game. I just think that the Bills just got too much. Simple as that. And then finally we got the 8:15 p.m. matchup on Monday night. This is an interesting game. Chargers coming off their bye week. They're 2-2 against the Dallas Cowboys. Will be in California. Once again, they were in Santa Clara, California, playing the 49ers. So on this West Coast trip, the Cowboys, see if they can redeem themselves and beat the Chargers. The thing that to keep your eyes on is that Kellen Moore, who was fired by the Cowboys, losing in the division playoff round to the 49ers, and Mike McCarthy took over the offensive play calling. The Chargers was able to scoop up more after they fired their coordinator, Joe Lombardi, and Moore has the Chargers among the league's best passing offenses. So he's going to be facing his former team, so keep your eyes on that. So I have to know is that over the past 3 seasons, Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the Chargers, has been one of the league's best quarterbacks under pressure, ranked 3rd in QBR, 6.16 incompletion percentage, 67.5%. 2nd in passing yards, 10,859. 5th in passing touchdowns, 70. And 3rd in sack rate when under pressure, 15.5%. The Cowboys lead the NFL in pressure percentage over that same span. Matchup factor is McCarthy. He wanted the offensive play calling duties back, but the results have not been good because Dallas ranks just 15th in EPA per play on that side of the ball. And neither the passing game nor the rushing game has cracked the top 10. So this is an interesting matchup. Let's see what happens. So that's it for the look at the National Football League for the games, what you need to know as far as this game is concerned. And that's what it comes down to. See if the Cowboys bounce back against the Chargers, come off their bye week, and see what happens with that. So there needs to be said about that. So now, let's get into the UFC fighting schedule. See who's going to be fighting tonight. main card, 7 o'clock p.m. UFC fighting. Got featherweight Sodik Youssef, 13-2. Edson Barbosa, 23-11. Women flyweight division got Jennifer Mayer versus Viviane Araju. Bantamweight class, you got Jonathan Martinez, 18-4, against Adrian Yanez, 16-4. Middleweight division got Andre Petrosky, 15-2. Michael Pereira, 28-11. 2 no decisions. Bantamweight, Christian Rodriguez against Cameron Simon, 9-1. Christian Rodriguez against Simon. Cameron Simon, 9-0. Other cancellations, you got cancellations of fights, middleweight and catchweight. Marc-Andre Barot, Michael Pereira, that's canceled. Catchweight, Edgar Jerez and Daniel Da Silva, that fight is canceled. So those are the main card. For the main card. Alright, so let's get into the preliminary card. You got at 4 o'clock the featherweight division, Darren Elkins, 27-11 against TJ Brown, 17-10. Women bantamweight, you got Tainara Lisboa, 6-2 against Ravina Oliveira, 7-1-1. Lightweight, Terrence McKinney, 14-6. Brendan Marat, 8-1. Women bantamweight, Irina Alexieva, 5-1. Melissa Dixon, 5-0. Bantamweight, Chris Gutierrez, 19-5-2 against Alatinga Galali, 16-8-2. Women's strawweight, Ashley Yoder, 8-8. Emily D. Cope, 12-8. Got cancellations, got 3 cancellations. Well, what I see, you got David Dvorak, Tashura Tahara, flyweight, women bantamweight, Tanara Lisboa, Daria, I can't pronounce the last name, we'll leave that alone. You got another fight, bantamweight, that's going to be canceled. Rani Yaya and Ala Telagini Kageli. So that's it, what's on the dock with the preliminary card and the main card for the Ultimate Fighting Championship UFC fighting schedules. That's it for that. So quickly, let's get into the college football for the scores that's going on right now. Okay, we got a final. Alabama beats Arkansas 24-21. So they won by 3 points. Close margin. Let's see the box score. Very close game in the fourth quarter. You know, Alabama was up 24-6. Then Arkansas came back, making 24-21, but that was with 10:59 to go in the fourth quarter. But this is a close game throughout. But Alabama was able to hold on, and they win the game 24-21. So we got a final in Tuscaloosa. They win that game. Other scores: Ohio State blowing out Purdue 41-7. No surprise there. This game just started a while ago. Utah is losing to California. Utah ranked number 16 in the country. They're losing right now 7-0 with 5:41 to go in the first quarter. Georgia beat Vanderbilt 37-20. Michigan beat Indiana 52-7. Florida State blew out Syracuse 41-3. So no surprise there. So no upset so far in college football. Again, you got the main event of the day for college football, and that is Oregon versus Washington. It's 3:30 now. It's going to be starting real soon in a few minutes. Looking forward to watching that game. So that's it, man. I'm done with the show for today. It's been a great show, great time doing my thing, and hopefully you enjoy everything I've talked about from top to bottom, all the above, all the baseball that I've talked about. Great baseball. Time to be a baseball fan. If you love baseball, if you're not a fan of Houston, if you're not a fan of Texas, if you're not a fan of Arizona Diamondbacks, or a fan of the Philadelphia Phillies, you got ALCS, NLCS starting. You got the first championship is going to start tomorrow. Look at the schedule. You got Texas and Houston tomorrow at 8:15 p.m. And then you got the National League Championship Series between Arizona and Philly. That's going to be on Monday night at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be on TBS. The other series is going to be on Fox, Texas and Houston. The pitching matchup tomorrow night will be Jordan Montgomery against Justin Verlander. So that's on the docket. I'll talk about that in the first half of the show. And I'll talk about the college football in this half, this second half show of the show, I talked about the NFL. Then I talked about UFC fighting schedule. So that's it for the show. Looking forward to next week. I do have a guest next week. His name is Michael McKingbridge. He has a book out called The Big Time. That's going to be about, he wrote about that because it's about the 70s and sports in the 70s, how it became what it is today. So he took a look back at the 70s sporting events of the 70s. So Michael McKingbridge will be on the show on Zoom. He'll be coming on next Saturday to talk about this new book. Actually came out this past week on October 10th, called The Big Times. This basically talking about sports in the 70s, how it revolutionized everything and why it is what it is today as far as sports is concerned. So looking forward to talking to him, talk about that book. And another author being on my show had John Eisenberg and Gary Myers and Rich Cohen. So it's great to have authors. Usually I have some certain athletes on the show, but mostly authors. And it's a lot of people coming out with books, man. Great books as far as sports is concerned. This book is basically about how the 1970s transformed sports in America, and that's why he wrote the book. So we're gonna get into that, why he wrote the book in detail and stuff like that. Talk about the chapters in the book. So that's gonna be on the docket next Saturday afternoon, live on Gyroscope Radio, on the Rashad Show, live on Gyroscope Radio. So that includes episode number 344, 344th episode of the Rashad Show. Hope you enjoy everything I talked about, from top to bottom, all the above. So for Ron Williams behind the boards and the great studios of Rochelle Park, New Jersey, in the control room, I am your host, Rashad Mitchell. Until then, talk to you next time, next Saturday afternoon, live on Gyroscope Radio.